Welcome to Leadership Talk, the official Waymaker podcast, where we explore how your organization can achieve more by doing less. Well, welcome to Leadership Talk, the official Waymaker podcast. I'm your host, Craig Hyman, and with me today, as always, is founder and CEO of Waymaker, Stu Leo. First, I'll say hi to you. How are you, Stu?
I'm great.
Good, Stu. Today, we actually have the honor of talking to Ari Galper. Now, Ari is the founder and CEO of Unlock the Game and the world's #1 authority on trust-based selling. Ari, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's so great to have you with us. Stu, I'm going to handball to you to kickstart this conversation.
Ari, huge thanks from the Waymaker team for joining us. I have been reading your content and listening to you for a little while, so I feel like I'm going to ask some fanboy questions. I'm going to ask some useful questions that might help our listeners and leaders sell better. But Ari, before we kick off into too much detail, you are the #1 authority on trust-based selling. Tell us how you got there.
Well, it's a 20-year journey. I've been in this niche for a long, long time and been only working on this for 20 years and nothing else.
a classic overnight success.
Right, exactly. And really focusing on one central problem, which is how do you deconstruct and reconstruct the sales process so it does not contain any more chasing, follow-up, dehumanization, or rejection.
That sounds like Nirvana.
That's exactly what a lot of my clients experience when they are able to sell without resistance, without convincing, without free consulting, and giving away the store and getting a lot of, let me think about it, sounds great, call me next week. And that was the problem that I was committed to solving, and we've now solved it to the point now where we're launching a new book next year called The One Call Sale, where we'll be able to compress the sales cycle from multiple steps now into one single conversation with a qualified buyer. So lots of exciting things have been happening in our laboratory over here.
That's very exciting. We'll make sure we punch a link through to a pre-registration or something for listeners so that they can get a hold of that. What was it that jolted you into this idea of trust-based selling?
Sure. So there's a story behind this. It happened to me early days, and that's when I used to be a sales manager in a software company. And I was managing 18 salespeople at the time. And we launched the first online website data collection tools for websites. Now it's called Google Analytics. And I'm sure you've heard of that before.
Maybe.
But back then, it was actually the first one out the door with that product. It cost money, and we were offering that product to the market, and the big opportunities came across my desk, the big leads. And this one contact called us through our website. I got the phone call. He's with a huge company, big opportunity, and he agreed to a conference call and a demo of our product that following week. And look, it was such a big opportunity. If I close this one sale, it would double the revenue of the company in one transaction. That's how big it was. It was a big global business. So the day finally came, Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was in the conference room with my director, and I closed the door behind me. Big, long conference table. In the middle of the table is an old school speakerphone. You know, remember the Star Trek 3 legs or black speakerphones? And I dialed the phone number. My contact picks up the phone. He says, "Hey, Ari, how's it going?" And he says to me, "Ari, let us tell you who's in the room with us today." And I was like, "Oh, didn't realize there'd be someone else there." Next thing I hear is, "My name's Nick. I'm CEO of the company." I was like, "Oh, wow, this is good." "My name's Chris. I'm head of global IT." This is even better. "My name is Julie. I'm head of marketing." This is amazing. I mean, everybody in this room on this call was a decision maker. Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen today. They're all there, right?
This is game on.
Correct. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. So I described what we do, introduced myself. Then I gave them a live demo over the web of our product being collected on their websites ahead of time. I showed all the live data, and we're logging in. They're seeing this, and I'm hearing this noise on the phone call like, "Wow, this is great. This is amazing. I can't believe." They start asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? What's the technology? Who are our clients? How long have I been around? I mean, Every question you can imagine. Of course, I had all the answers. I was competent. There was so much chemistry on this phone call. It was like a love fest on the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I've made this call too many times.
Yeah. They got the questions. You got the answers. You're saying to yourself, oh, this is perfect. And so I'm just doing my thing. I was right out of the books and sales. I listened to CDs in my car back then, went to seminars. I was a student, and I was doing everything I was taught to do. Build relationships, build rapport, answering objections. And an hour goes by, they're loving it, and the call comes to a close, and my contact says to me, Ari, this is great. We love it. Look, give us a call a couple weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward. I said to myself, oh, thank you, God. I was like, wow, what an amazing ending. So I said my goodbyes, and I took my hand and I reached for the speakerphone in the middle of the table. As I'm reaching for the off button on the phone, by complete accident, now it's a divine intervention, my thumb hit the mute button instead of the off button. They were right next to each other, and a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone.
That's a good trick. But that's not your sales advice, is it?
No. And that split second, a voice inside of me said, Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one's ever gone before in the world of sales. So I pulled my thumb back for a couple seconds. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I had left the call. Now, this is not a trick question, but what would you imagine or expect them to say after a call like that?
Well, I mean, I would imagine they'd be talking about you, the person. You know, do we like that guy? Do we like this product? How, you know, they'll be talking about how they're going to go forward and buy, and which would be really interesting.
That's what I expected as well. But let me share with you what I heard verbatim, word for word. That's why we're all here today. What they said was this. They said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information, and make sure we shop someplace else cheaper. Knife and heart twist. I was in a state of shock.
Shut down.
Oh, I hit the off button, and I looked at the wall. I said to myself, what did I do wrong? I was professional. I was competent. I knew my product. I was not aggressive. I did everything I was trained and taught to do by the sales gurus.
Yeah.
And the first big epiphany hit me. You can tell me if you agree with me this or not. That somewhere along the way, it has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth to people who sell.
It's so sad. It's so frustrating.
It's okay to say things like, sounds good, send me information. We're definitely interested. Wait. Send me a what? Proposal.
Yeah.
Good.
Without any intention of buying.
So were you in the room with anybody else?
No, just myself and my director, and he was also state of shock. And then I had a realization, and I realized that moment that there is an invisible river of pressure that flows underneath every sales conversation you have with somebody pre-sale. Now, you can't see it and they can't see it, but they can feel it. And if you are consciously aware of that pressure and removing the pressure out of the conversation all the time, then you'll never get to the point where you can create what I call a bubble of vulnerability, where they feel comfortable telling you the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's where I created my whole unlock the game mindset shift concept 20 years ago, where you let go of the goal of the sale and you focus only on deep, authentic trust building to get to the truth. Then you can see if you're fit or not. That became the whole premise behind our system.
So, Ari, one of the questions I'm sure our listeners have, how do you get across your product messages, your brand messages, but also the vulnerability to create this trust?
You don't. You don't get your product information across. You don't get your brand across.
Yes.
You don't. It's not about you. It's not about what you have. It has nothing to do with what you have to do to build trust. The way you build trust with someone is you focus in on the problems that your solution solves for them. You start in their world. You get them to own the problem. You get them to accept the problem and commit to the problem. They don't really care about how you solve it. Mm-hmm. All they care about is if you're the one to solve it or not. So the whole time they're not asking themselves, oh, I want to learn about their product. No. What they're asking themselves is, do I trust him? Do I trust him? This is an issue of trust, not an issue of your product being better than someone else's. And that's what people don't realize, that we are now living in an age of commoditization, where every solution appears to look like the same from the outside world. They're not qualified to discern your product being better to someone else's. They see it as all the same. So how are you going to win this new economy? You differentiate not by your product, you differentiate by your approach.
I've got a question for you. Sorry,
powerful.
Stu, I'm going to butt in. When do you think that change happened in the market? Was there a defining point where you see that happening? And the second one is this kind of like reactionary to the straight line sales method? Is it?
Well, I think
kind of the antithesis to it.
I think there's been a brewing revolt against traditional selling for a long, long time.
Yeah.
People have been burnt, rejected, taken advantage of for years. And they know at hello when you're in that game. When you call someone and say, hi, my name is, it's over at hello. They know it right away. So in the last 3 or 4 years, though, with the internet, what's happened is it's commoditized every product to look like basically a website. And now no longer can the market discern what's right or wrong for them because it all appears to be the same. Insurance, financial advice, whatever your software. They aren't experts. They aren't qualified to determine whether what's right for them or not based upon product knowledge, which is so contrarian because we're taught that we're supposed to educate our market and our clients on our product. But let me tell you right now, the last thing your ideal client wants is education. Information? Yeah, give me more. That's the last thing people want is more information. Are you kidding me? We're in the age of unlimited information. What they want is someone they can trust to solve their problem. It's like a doctor-patient relationship, right? You go to a doctor, they say, where does it hurt? And the focus is in the problem, not what's in the medicine bottle and prescription.
So, Ari, I love this idea of blowing up traditional sales processes and sales methodologies. How do you teach younger people who maybe have come through, or even older people now running a business that have come through that traditional model, how do you teach them to build trust so quickly?
Well, first they have to be open-minded, to willing to accept the truth that their sales challenge is not their product or their market, it's themselves. Think about it. Their clients have a problem, they have the solution. Straight line of sight. What's in the middle of that? Us. We fumbled the ball with our sales process. And so the way they shift is by first cleaning out their mental hard drive and the conditioning, what they believe selling is, redefined it. And I'll give you a couple myths right now to do that. The first myth, and I know you know this one, is that the sales is a numbers game. I'm sure you heard that before over your career.
All the time.
Of course. It's from the 1980s, and that came from the idea that the more contacts you make, the more sales you're supposed to make. Well, we discovered in this economy now, it's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation, not how good you are at how many phone calls you make. The second myth is the idea that the sale is lost at the end of the process. And I'm sure you've been there before where you had a deal pending. It looked really good. Everything box was ticked at the end. It just kind of like fell through. Like, what happened? Like, they were perfect for us. And what we discovered in this economy now, the sale is not lost anymore at the end of the process. It's now lost at the beginning, at hello. It's like I said, if someone calls you on the phone tomorrow morning, you hear, hi, my name is, I'm with, what goes through your mind in about 3 seconds?
I do not want to talk to this person.
It's over at hello. And I'm not suggesting that your people listening here are doing outbound calls. Maybe they are, but if they're not, I'll make the case today they're losing their opportunities, not at the end of the process. They're losing it where?
At the start.
At hello.
So if I'm a business owner and I want to really reinvigorate my sales process, where would you suggest we start?
To invigorate the sales process, you said?
Correct.
To do an inventory of the 3 to 5 core problems that you help your ideal client solve. And be very clear on that. Unpack it and have a brainstorming discussion with your team about this to make sure you know all the intricacies about the problems are that you solve for your market. Then you enter the sales conversation talking about the problems, not the solution. because you want your market and your clients to prospects to acknowledge the problem, then peel the problem back and amplify it to the point where you can ROI the impact of not solving it, and ask them this question. And here's the profound question you want to ask: is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? Or is it something you happen to live with unresolved, and I'm okay either way?
That is a powerful question.
Can I made the observation just as I've consumed your content, Ari, is it's a very similar approach to like Chris Voss's approach to hostage negotiation, like this putting the onus back on the person that you're talking to actually help you solve the problem, rather than you coming in with the solution all the time. Is that a conscious thing, or is that just coincidental?
Maybe it's coincidental, but there's some differences in how you go about doing it from the FBI point of view, from my point of view. But the overall concept is that you want it to, it's like a therapist and a patient. If the patient doesn't own the problem, acknowledge it, they're the worst patients to ever have. Because you got to drag them through the process and chase them. That's why you want to make sure in the beginning of the process that they acknowledge the depths of the problem. They're vulnerable enough to admit to you that it's real. And it's hard because when you meet someone new or have a first call with somebody or a scheduled LinkedIn meeting with someone for the first time, they don't want to be vulnerable with you and share with you the truth of their problem. They just want to like give you a few breadcrumbs for you to chew on and be excited about it, and then hopefully build a relationship with them, and hopefully all goes well. Well, good luck with that one, because you get a lot of, I'll think about it.
Ari, you've talked and written a lot about what you've learned from your son. And there are some human skills that we need to build around trust and authenticity and building relationships. Can you talk about that a little bit for our listeners and give us the insights to bring that authenticity and empathy, into our relationships?
Sure. So when my son Toby was born about 18 years ago, the day after he was born, we were told that he had Down syndrome. And at first we weren't sure what that meant to our lives. Then we realized we had a gift on our hands. If you know anybody who has Down syndrome, you know the special gifts they have. They're loving, they're transparent, they have no hidden agenda, they're just full of love. And he impacted me so much. I wrote a book about him called Lessons from Toby, how to stay centered in your personal business life. And every page is a lesson I learned from him over 365 days for the whole year. A lot of my clients have next to their bedside. And basically what I learned from him is that he's the role model. We have to become like him, where he doesn't have any hidden agenda. He's fully present with you. You feel that. See, in sales, we're not. Our mind's always trying to qualify and go to a next step in the back of our brain. Oh, how many you want to buy? Oh, great. If I just get to the next step. Oh my God, this is great. See, we're already over here and they're over here. And the way you make the shift that I learned from him is you got to be present with the other person in your sales process 100% in their world. And I tell my clients, you have to fall out of love with your solution and fall in love with your client's problems. Because you'll be able to enter their world and stay in there as long as you can if they ask you for help.
What was it that practically you were able to take from that into a sales call?
Well, it's helped me, and now I teach this, to have the courage and the boldness to tell prospects in the sales process the truth of their situation, whether they want to hear it or not. Because see, in sales, we're taught to play the game. See, we think our job is to build a relationship with someone in the sales process first. And I tell my clients, stop building relationships with people in your sales process. You build them post-sale, not pre-sale. They don't want to become your friend. They know it's fake anyways. That's like 1980s. Oh, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Hey, mate. So what do you do? That's like, oh my God. They know right away what's going on. It's fake and they know it. So that's why we strip out the relationship building. Now, we still have bedside manner. We still have warmth and empathy like a doctor. But we focus on x-raying the problem right away. And that's all they want. They want a spotlight on their own problem. They want someone to peel the problem back to help them understand the impact of it. They don't want to become your friend so quickly. It's awkward anyways. Only once they become a client, you build a relationship with them, which I know is very contrary, and I know drops a bomb on the whole thinking around sales and relationship building. And everyone's like, oh, build a relationship first. I'm like, no.
I think that's why we like it, because we're, as you've probably worked out, we're not born salespeople. We've grown up in business or in work, and we've had to learn those skills. And you look to other leaders and you listen and you try and practice those things. But in reality, you're sometimes picking up really bad habits. So how would you suggest business owners or leaders unlearn some of those things?
Well, the first big idea here is to stop giving value.
Whoa.
Stop doing free consulting. Stop giving information. Replace giving value with providing clarity. Providing clarity on their problem. That's what they really want. You know when you go to a doctor and you see your shoulder hurts, he says, let me take a look. And you go, oh, ow, oh, you need an x-ray. We need like an x-ray on that. You get the x-ray and he explains to you, see that little spot right there? That's what's going on. And you go, oh, now I understand what the problem is. There's a sense of relief when you find somebody who understands your problem in a deep way. It's like it's like vibration, a resonance. Like you say to yourself, he just gets me. There's more relief from knowing what the problem is than solving it. But what do we do in sales? I can help you with that. Absolutely. Wait till you see what I got. We got demos, we got insurance, See, we can't wait to qualify somebody and immediately start doing what?
Yeah, pitching.
Educate. I'm going to give you lots of value today, and I hope that all that value, really, you enjoy that, and then hopefully we'll go from there. How's that sound? Oh my God, no. Stop talking. And that's what happens. I have my class record their phone calls or sales calls for our they play these calls, and I stop the tape, and I'm like, what are you doing? Stop talking. Stop trying to build a relationship. Stop trying to move it forward. Stop working so hard. You got to shift your thinking here to really x-ray the problem and know how to go down what I call go down the iceberg with somebody. Because they'll start with the top of the iceberg, just give you enough artificial little things to get you interested. Then you got to peel the onion back to the bottom of the iceberg, make sure they want your help or not. You can't go forward, go down.
Ari, is that true of the marketing of a product as well as the sales process? Or do you see those two as two
Same.
things?
You have to, if you want to market your solution, you market it around the problems, not the future benefits. See, future selling is dead. If you got my software, it'll change your life. It'll be so much more efficient. You'll save so much more money. See, we're so conditioned from the old sales gurus to sell the future, sell the benefits. The problem is in this day and age now, people can't think past tomorrow. They can't think past the next 10 minutes. We're so fried with all that's going on in the world right now, and here we are trying to sell the benefits. I'm like, no, don't sell the future. Focus on the problems they have now. ROI the problems, so the cost to solve it is less than how much it costs them not to solve it. And ask if they want to solve it or not. It's pretty simple.
And would you say that the changes through COVID and the pandemic have only enhanced that? Or have you seen a shift due to COVID out there in the marketplace?
Well, I think it's 10x the sensitivity in the market now to anybody who's promoting themselves, who's selling with any kind of sales techniques at all, or online, who's using the same approach through different mediums. Like look at LinkedIn right now. Look at your inbox. You get a lot of, hey, would you like a free consultation? I got a free report for you over here. No, wait a second. I got a survey you should probably take too. They're using the same old school approach in a new medium. No one's changed anything yet.
I'm feeling guilty as charged all over this call.
I'll tell you one more thing. I'm going to ask all your viewers right now to take a verbal oath with me, an oath, to remove one key phrase forever from your vocabulary and never, ever use it again.
Okay, what is it?
This might hurt just a bit if you've been in sales for a long time, but here it is. I'm going to ask you all to never again use the phrase follow-up ever again for the rest of your life in business.
Okay.
What's the only industry that uses the word follow-up? Sales. Hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up to move things where?
Forward.
Towards a sale. And I'm sure if I had them all raise their hand right now, when I'm watching, and I ask you, how many of you in the last few weeks have called someone and said that I'm going to follow up, or emailed someone, hi, I'm ready to follow up. What are they thinking? The other person's going, oh no, they're chasing me. So what you say instead is this. You say, I'm giving you a ring, giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation. Any feedback on our last meeting. Any feedback on our last email. See, feedback's going where? Away from the sale, not towards a sale. See, you've got to reverse direction on your process, on your mindset, away from your goal towards their goal, and stay in that path as long as you can, because if you jump out too early, you've lost them.
That actually really surprised me right then, Ari, when you said the one thing you need to say is feedback. Because naturally that does take me away from the sale or even looking for that close moment where they can commit. So how do you go from, okay, give me feedback, to let's actually now take action and solve the problem?
Well, you get the purpose of the word feedback is to elicit the truth. The truth of whether there's a fit between you and them or not. And you know that by them opening up to you and telling where they stand. If they open up to you and they express the issue, it's serious, and they want to solve it, then they're going to say to you, how can you help me? But you are not allowed to jump in prematurely and offer a path to a solution until you hear the magic words, which are, how do you work? Or how can you help me? You see, that's the hardest thing for us to do, because we don't want to hold back. We love what we do. We're so passionate. The moment we find someone that's a fit, we can't wait to what? We can't wait to tell them about it.
Do you find that the Australian market is different culturally to the way that they respond to sales than any other part of the world?
I think it's the same. I've been doing both sides of the pond for a long, long time now, and people here, our clients over there, everyone hates being sold to, and they hate having to sell. No difference.
We've got listeners, I guess, across Asia Pac, UK, Ireland, North America, and spattering across Asia. Do you have any recommendations in a post-COVID world on the best way to maximize the next actions in sales?
What do you mean?
I mean, where should people go right now to restart their business, to get back the momentum and get things flowing again?
They have to shift their own thinking first. There's no action to take until they're first open to being willing to accept the fact their conditioning from their past experience of selling is the problem. They are the problem. Don't take any action until you flip the switch on what you should be doing in terms of repurposing your approach to the market away from your solution to focusing on their problem and having a language path and a roadmap for that process.
That's great advice. I know we're running short of time, so I want to give a huge thanks. I know I've learnt a lot. I'm sure our listeners have learnt a lot. I've been challenged, and I'm feeling somewhat conscious about going to the whiteboard now and writing up a whole bunch of things I'm going to change about my sales process. Ari, I want to thank you. Do you have any last recommendations or suggestions on where people can get more content from you to help them?
Well, first, I'm very accessible. Come to LinkedIn, introduce yourself, connect with me, let us know that you heard us here. If you want to actually take a step forward, we have a free intro course at unlockthegame.com. You can grab a free course, the intro course there. And also I host a show once a month called Stump the Guru.
Yeah, I love that. If you have not got onto that show, get onto Stump the Guru and try and stump Ari.
That's through LinkedIn. You can just jump in and you can just ask me any question you want and give me your toughest challenge. I've heard many over the last 20 years.
That's so awesome.
I have one last question. What for you has been when a sales call has gone horribly wrong?
Great question. And it happened to me. It slipped through my radar system one recently, and I just keep kicking myself for this. because I know what my rules should be. Someone came to our website, filled out a contact us form, and so we're looking to bring someone in right away to train our whole global sales team. We're deciding on Tuesday, and we're making a decision quickly. We want to talk to Ari as fast as possible. Now, pre what I know now, that would my alarm would go off right away, because I debated whether to take the call or not, and I've got a process for high range phone calls, but I took the call right away, which I shouldn't have done, and I got in the call with them, and they put the whole ball in my court, wanted me to pitch to them as to why they should choose me over someone else, which is so counter to everything that I do. And I slapped myself, and we disengaged nicely, very short amount of time, because I started asking them questions which they didn't want to answer, and I knew right away this is going to be bad, quick. So I recommend they go see someone else. And I learned I remind myself again, never engage with someone who's not open to talking about their problem first.
That's so good. Ari, your website, unlockthegame.com.
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
Jump on LinkedIn. Anywhere else people can
connect with me on
you?
LinkedIn, say hello. We can connect there. I'll give you some resources if you like from that point. But I think it's the best place to get a hold of me, unlockthegame.com or LinkedIn, yeah.
Thank you so much. Stu, where can people find us?
Of course, visit waymaker.io, and you can download resources, listen to this podcast, subscribe to us on all your favorite channels, and tell your friends all about Ari.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Ari. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.